Hey guys, YouTuber here. Alright, and now here I am with one more, by popular desire, obscure 2000s Disney movie review. And this is going to be a review for Herbie Fully Loaded. So yeah, so this was another one that, I did want to review back when I was, doing these reviews, but yeah, it wasn't on Disney Plus when I was making these reviews. So yeah, so I wasn't able to do it at the time. But then, yeah, as I was browsing through HBO Max, I did see that this movie was on there. So yeah, so luckily now this was another one that now I can make it by a popular desire. Yeah. So this is another one of those films that it just kind of seemed to come and go, and nobody really talked about it. I really didn't hear this movie really getting talked about all that much. So yeah. So it really just really didn't really seem to leave an impact, and it really just seemed to really quickly just really just pass by, and nobody really talked about it after that. Yeah. So yeah. So of course this film is of course part of the Herbie or Love Bug series. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, as far as how this is as a Love Bug movie goes, I really don't know because I haven't actually watched all the Love Bug movies or the Herbie movies. Yeah, I've really only seen the original movie and this one. Yeah, and I know that there's been a whole series of Herbie movies. Yeah, yeah, just yeah, and the Herbie series in general really seems to be just very obscure. Just considering just how many sequels there are out there, just the Herbie ones really don't really seem to really get talked about a lot because yeah, there have been quite a few Herbie movies over the years. I mean, yeah, there was of course the original movie, The Love Bug. There was our Herbie Rides Again, Herbie Goes to Monte Carlo, Herbie Goes Bananas. There was that 1997 a Bruce Campbell Love Bug movie, which was kind of both a sequel and a remake that was made for the Wonderful World of Disney. And then there was this movie. Yeah. So yeah, and Nostalgia Critic, when he was talking about the Love Bug movies for Disney December, he said how he called this movie a remake, but it really isn't a remake. This movie actually is a sequel to the original movies. So yeah, so it's not a remake as he said, and it actually is like Wikipedia says this film serves as a direct sequel to the original films and ignores the events from the Bruce Campbell movie. So yeah, so I'm not really sure how much a continuation this movie really does have to the previous movies because yeah, like I said, the only other Herbie movie I've really watched is the original Love Bug movie. So yeah, so I really don't know like how well this really does or how much this really does connect to the all the other movies. Yeah, but yeah, as is as a movie goes, I guess it's all right. I mean, it's not really anything spectacular, or probably not even anything really that really does make the movie a must see or anything. Probably, and it's really not really anything probably that you really have to go out of your way to see. But as its own thing, I guess it's just fine. I mean, yeah, if you know the this series, you know that what the Herbie movies really are about. It's about this Volkswagen Beetle that is actually is alive, and yeah, and basically he just enters races, and yeah, and it pretty much is the drill where he just is going a bunch of different people racers take him in, and yeah, they drive him in races, and yeah, they end up winning, and yeah, all that stuff. Yeah, and that really is basically the case here too, where the movie stars a Lindsay Lohan, and yeah, she's the one that does actually take Herbie in and actually drive him in races with him. Yeah, yeah. So it really does seem to really follow that Herbie movie shtick, where yeah, she just takes Herbie in and just drives him in races and all that stuff. Yeah. So yeah, so I saw in Nostalgia Critics a review of when he talked about the Love Bug movies, as he was talking about the sequels, he was talking about this one, and he said what he did find annoying about this was the fact that in this film they really did try to give Herbie a face in this film because yeah, if you know the series, you know that Herbie is alive, but yeah, he doesn't actually have a face and he doesn't talk or anything like that. He just is he he just actually does have a mind of his own and really just is able to drive himself and all that stuff. Yeah, but he doesn't actually have a face or anything. But in this film, they try to give him one because, yeah, in the film, like the headlights really do act as like his eyes because it shows like him like glaring or like closing his eyes and stuff or rolling his eyes and stuff. And plus, yeah, the front guardrail or yeah, the front railing on him is like a mouth as like it shows like him smiling and frowning and all that. Like if you saw like the thumbnail that I have in this video, you see like on the poster it shows that he like seems to be smiling. So yeah, so that's really like what they do throughout this movie. Like they try giving like Herbie a face with like making his headlights his eyes and the front railing a mouth. Yeah, so yeah, that really just like seems like very over the top, and yeah, I do find that like kind of annoying. I mean, they really didn't need to do that. I mean, couldn't they have just followed the original formula and just make it so like he's just got a mind of his own and not a face and all that? Yeah, so that is like one thing annoying about the movie. Yeah, but is the movie really all that bad? I really don't think so. I mean, there really isn't anything like absolutely like stupid or offensive in it. Well, yeah, the Herbie's face is kind of annoying, but yeah, it doesn't really like get overkill. I mean, the film is like kind of like silly at times and stuff, and yeah, and it is kind of like corny because I mean, you just have like all these cliches where like you have a rival in the race and yeah, and the rival then eventually like gets the better of the hero, and then yeah, then like a fallout ensues where like they lose the car and they lose like everybody that they care about, but then yeah, they gotta go through redemption, and then yeah, then they have another chance to race against the rival, and then they win, and all that stuff. I mean, this film definitely does have like similar elements that the original film did. Yeah, with like stuff like that, like making Herbie like feel upset and all that stuff, and racing against a rival and everything like that. Yeah, I definitely do think that the original movie is better because it does treat itself like more seriously than this film does. Even though, yeah, the concept is still like still pretty silly. Like this film does at least like take itself more seriously than this one does, with like not giving Herbie a face for one thing, and just yeah, the races against the rival. I think they are. It's nowhere as corny as it is in this film. Yeah. But yeah, the performances in the film I think are all fine. Like I said, the film does star Lindsay Lohan, and it also features like Michael Keaton, Justin Long, Breckin Mayer, and Matt Dillon, and I think they all do just fine. I mean, no groundbreaking performances or anything, but I think they do just fine. And yeah, and like I said, the story is pretty just like the typical Herbie story with like just driving human races and all that stuff. Yeah. So yeah. So really, just I really don't know what else to say. I mean, if you like Herbie, then yeah, maybe you will get some enjoyment out of the movie. Like I said, I haven't watched all of them, so I can't really like say how this really does compare to the other ones and where this one would really rank in the franchise. But yeah, if you do like Herbie and stuff like, if you do like the original movie, then maybe you can like check this movie out and just draw your own conclusion to it. I mean, yeah, Nostalgia Critic said in his Disney Simber video of these movies that just they're none are really like absolutely like we're checking out, like none of them are must see, but yeah, if you have like curiosity, then you can check them out then. So yeah, like I said, I haven't watched the other ones, but yeah, if you do have like curiosity and if you just want to check out like something else with Herbie, then yeah, you can check this one out and just draw your own conclusion to it. Yeah. So yeah, so I just really don't know what else I can really say about it. I mean, it is just kind of like just a movie that really is just like it really is just there. It really is just like it's a fine movie, but nothing really like groundbreaking about it, nothing that's a must see. But yeah, you can check it out for curiosity's sake. So I guess I would probably give it around like a 2.5 stars. All right, so I'm really just not too sure what else I can really say about it. So yeah, I guess I'll just jump right into the review. All right. So as the movie opens up, it just shows like clips from like some of the previous Herbie movies, showing how he like has won races and all that. But then it shows how Herbie is taken to a junkyard because apparently like he hasn't been doing very well in races as of late. Yeah. Yeah. And then it shows how Maggie Payton, who's played by Lindsay Lohan, has just graduated from college, and it shows that she's like the youngest member of her family's racing clan. It shows like her grandfather, like they said in this movie, was a racer in the past, and it shows that now Maggie's father Ray is like the head of like her brother Ray Jr.'s pit crew, and Ray is like a race car driver now. Yeah, yeah. And then one day, as Ray is wanted to take Maggie to buy a car as a graduation present, Maggie eventually did find Herbie and chose to buy him. Yeah. And at first, of course, like she didn't know that Herbie was alive, but then, yeah, then after like he then so got into driving for the first time, there like was a note inside of the car saying to please take care of Herbie. So yeah, I'm guessing that this was like from like the person that owned Herbie before Maggie. So I'm guessing like the movie before that came out before the Bruce Campbell movie. Yeah, like I said, I haven't watched the other movie, so I really like don't know like what how much connection this movie really does have to the film that came before the Bruce Campbell movie. Yeah. But yeah, then she eventually did discover that like Herbie was alive after like Herbie was like driving himself. Well, yeah, yeah, and then as she then uh, Maggie then saw her old friend from high school, Kevin, who was now a mechanic. She showed Herbie to him, and then Maggie brought like Kevin along with her to a car show where they could buy parts for Herbie, and it showed there that there was the NASCAR champion Trip Murphy, who was played by Matt Dillon there, and then after Maggie then saw that Herbie did like have a racing suit inside him. Again, I don't know if like this did come from the person that owned Herbie in the prior movie or what. But yeah, Maggie ended up like putting it on, and in the process, Maggie's it also came with a helmet with a visor, and Maggie was wearing that. And yeah, it was of course like unknown who it was, and even like when Trip Murphy like saw the person, or saw Maggie, yeah, he was like then just starting to like make some insulting comments to Herbie, and then yeah, Herbie then just like drove up to Trip's car and then just left a long scratch with his mirror on Trip's car. And then, yeah. And then with that, then like just the crowd then was just like egging for a race between Maggie and Trip, and then yeah, then a race ensued between the two of them. Yeah, like at first, like Trip was playing very dirty to Maggie, just like driving her and Herbie off course and everything. But then Maggie then like started to race back with Herbie, and then Maggie ended up winning the race with Herbie just by a hair. Yeah. Yeah. Then later on, after Ray found out about the race, like it was like revealed that apparently in the past Maggie actually had a street racing accident where she ended up in the hospital, and due to that, like Ray like forbid Maggie from racing again. And after he found out about the race with Trip, Maggie tried to just tell her dad to cover up the fact that she was racing. That like just that she lent the card to Kevin's supposed friend Max, which was like spelled with two X's, and she let Max borrow the car. And so after this, basically Maggie was just posing off as this guy Max that didn't even exist. Yeah. And then it showed then how Trip just was like very obsessed with Herbie and Max, and really was just like very obsessed with like wanting a rematch. And so then he put together a local racing competition to lure Max in for a rematch. And so then yeah, Maggie and Kevin heard about it and they entered it. And it showed how Herbie like was just like very dominant in competition. And then yeah, Maggie then qualified for the final match against Trip. And then eventually, as Trip met Maggie, and then as he was like hearing more about Max, then and Trip eventually did like catch on to that it was really Maggie that was driving Herbie. Yeah. Then one night, then as like Trip was talking to Maggie, just like getting him to like race in her car, or getting her to race in his car. I'm sorry. Yeah. Yeah, he then struck up a bet to in the race with Max, because like Maggie was telling Trip that she was like sponsoring Max, and so they came to an agreement to that the race would be for pink slip, so the winner would get the loser's pink slip for their car. Yeah, and I guess I should also talk about like in this movie, it also showed how Herbie apparently like ended up gaining feeling for another like yellow beetle that did belong to Sally, who was like one of the sponsors for Ray's his crew. Yeah, you know, for Ray Jr. Yeah. Yeah, and so then yeah, it showed how Herbie like just like drove right up to Sally's beetle car, and even like saw like how Maggie saw how Herbie like had feelings for the car, and yeah, Maggie just told Herbie that she's too young for him. So yeah, that this is something else that's kind of silly. How Herbie ends up like falling in love with another car. Yeah, just and even like the ending of this movie, it did get silly as well, where it revealed that like the yellow beetle was alive too. Yeah, but anyway, yeah. And then when Herbie found out that like Maggie agreed to race for pink slips, then in the race the following day, hey, like it showed that Herbie just ended up like intentionally losing the race, and then in the process, as Maggie was just like berating Herbie, then like Trip then just goaded Maggie into just revealing herself, and Maggie took off the helmet and revealed it was her, and so then yeah, then just Maggie was just like publicly embarrassed about it, and yeah, Kevin then like was upset that Maggie agreed to race for pink slips, and it showed like Herbie being loaded onto a tow truck, and it also showed how Ray was is unhappy as well about Maggie lying to him and also racing without his permission. So yeah, so Maggie found herself in a very bad predicament, and it showed Herbie was being towed off. And then yeah, then Maggie's friend in charisma then just gave her some more encouragement and not to give up like that. And then Maggie then like went to Trip and to try to buy him back, but she learned that Herbie was actually um, entered into a demolition derby, and so then Maggie then went to the derby, and then she ran onto the field while the derby was taking place, and then yeah, she made amends with Herbie, and it showed as like just a huge monster truck was heading towards Maggie. Herbie saved her. And yeah, and then Herbie just ended up ejecting the guy that was driving him. Yeah, and yeah, then Maggie and Herbie were able to escape the derby. Yeah, yeah, and then and it shows how like I haven't really talked about Maggie's brother Ray Jr. yet. Yeah, it shows that I said before how like Ray Jr. was like a NASCAR driver, but he had this like a problem where he was like he would always be like crashing into walls, and it showed that like he he like ended up like in a crash, and he also like ended up like having some like damage to his vision, and as a result, he was unable to race in an upcoming NASCAR Next Cup series. Yeah, and so then Ray Jr. then like tried to like tell Ray that he wanted like Maggie to drive for the team, but Ray was still like uh still was just refusing to let Maggie drive, even when Maggie was really just like trying to beg for the opportunity to race, and that she has the determination that he does. Ray still just didn't want Maggie to race. Yeah, but then that night, then Ray Jr. then came along and then made the decision on his own that Maggie would fill in for him in the race. Yeah, and so then yeah, with Herbie like suffering some damage from the destruction derby, Maggie, Kevin, and Ray Jr.'s crew helped to prepare Herbie for the race. And then the following day at the racetrack, then as Maggie was preparing for the race, it's like Trip like did like go talk to Maggie. He did wish her luck, but also like gave her a warning that the race is going to be dangerous. Yeah, and yeah, as the race so went on, it showed that like Ray was at home, but then he was watching the race and he discovered that Maggie was in the race, and then when he saw her in the race, he then had support for her. So I guess all she really had to do was basically just stand up to her dad and do what she wanted. So yeah, so and I guess that gained his support. Yeah, yeah, and it showed as the race started, like Herbie was like very slow, but then he started to um pass other cars in the race. Yeah, and then eventually Ray did actually join the event live and was um, um, leading the pit team, which did feature like Ray Jr. and Kevin. Yeah, yeah, and yeah, it also like showed that there were like other famous NASCAR drivers on the race, such as Tony Stewart and Jeff Gordon and such. Yeah, and it showed how Maggie was able to past them, and it also showed that Herbie was able to like drive over Tony Stewart's car, but it also ended up like damaging Herbie's oil system, and he was losing oil pressure. So to fix it up, Kevin then just like used a part from Sally's yellow new Beetle to replace it, but she told Maggie that if she takes damage, like it's not going to hold. So then and yeah, Maggie was eventually able to catch up with Trip, but yeah, Trip was really just like really intent on stopping Herbie from winning. So Trip just kept up bumping Herbie, and it started to loosen up the oil system. But then, and yeah, uh, as a Trip then like just tried to push Herbie into a brick wall. Well, then uh, Maggie and Herbie then just slammed on the brakes on one of his attempts, and then yeah, it just had Trip just going out of control and nailing Jeff Gordon, and just flipped over. Yeah, the Trip's car just flipped over, and then yeah, then Herbie then was able to just like drive up over the on the side of the fence and was able to get back on the track and win the race. And so then yeah, Maggie then was the winner and was then continued on the Peyton legacy in winning the race. Yeah, and then it just like showed Maggie celebrating with Ray Jr. and Kevin, and it showed like how Trip was loaded into an ambulance. He was trying to convince everybody that Herbie was alive, but of course nobody was listening. Yeah, yeah, then the film then just ended with like Ray talking to Herbie and the Yellow Beetle. Just telling them not to stay out for too long, and it showed like them like going out together. And like I said, it showed that the Yellow Beetle was alive as well. It showed it like winking, and then it just had them driving off, and that's how it ended. So yeah, so like I said, I don't really know like how well this really does compare to the other Herbie movies since I've only watched the original, so I can't really like make that comparison and I really like say like where this film really does stand in all the series. Yeah, but it is at least like it is interesting to see. Like it is cool to see Herbie in NASCAR and everything, and I guess it is cool to see like a more modernized version of a Herbie movie like this. So so I guess like it does like have that distinction to it. So I can't really say that this at least doesn't offer anything. I mean, like there is like still like some to offer in the film. So yeah, it does get kind of silly at times, but yeah, there's nothing really like absolutely like stupid about it, and it's not like awful or anything. So yeah, not really a must see, but if you got the curiosity, go ahead and check it out. So like I said, I give it 2.5 stars out of 4. All right, so I guess that's all I can really say about it. All right, so yeah, so this does it for my review of Herbie Fully Loaded. So I hope you guys did enjoy this review. Those were the three by popular desire Disney uh, obscure 2000s Disney movies I wanted to talk about. So I am glad that I did at least get to talk about these movies since I didn't get the chance to do it when I was initially doing these reviews. But yeah, I am glad that I finally did get to review them now. Yeah. So yeah, and like I said, I am like still working on those like videos I was talking about that were video game related. But yeah, hopefully I'll be ready to do one in pretty soon. So yeah, so stay tuned for those coming up. All right. So I hope you guys did enjoy this review. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.